It's the Opperman Report. Join digital forensic investigator and PI Ed Opperman for an in-depth discussion of conspiracy theories, strategy of New World Order resistance, high-profile court cases in the news, and interviews with expert guests and authors on these topics and more. It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, well, boy, that was a lot of prompts. We're on. Let me get rid of these here. 1 second, hold on. Okay, stop that, and stop that. Okay, welcome to the Opperman Report. Let me see if I'm all set up here. Whew. Welcome to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. This show is brought to you by the support of our sponsors like CartKing.com, cart-king.com, 877-986-7771. If you've ever thought about going into the mobile cart or kiosk business, now is the time to do it. CartKing.com's been 20 years working with clients and corporations across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. So if you're thinking about going into business or you're already in business, you want to add additional point-of-sale locations or even advertising locations in the middle of a mall, you go to cart-king.com, you check out the different models and styles that they have. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it, then they'll ship it worldwide. And then we're going to do this for you. If you buy a cart or a kiosk from cart-king.com, I'm going to give you a free membership, a lifetime membership. I'm going to kill you a month later, but I'm going to give you a lifetime membership. Okay? And you got to watch it. You got to look over your back for the rest of your life because I'm coming to get you. Get a lifetime membership to OppermanReport.com members section, and also too, I'll plug your business on the show. I'll plug you on. We're on a bunch of stations. We're like in 35 cities right now. This is insane, guys. Okay, this is, we got some people listening out there these days. Not to this show. I don't put this show out there all the time. But anyway, cart-king.com, 877-986-7771. Tell them, hey, Ed Opperman sent me. I want to get that deal with the free membership and the plug and all that kind of stuff. Pure Soap Flake Company, puresoapflakes.com, greenhome.com, amazon.com, 218-568-2525. It's the best soap you could buy, guys. It's all natural, it's vegan, it's organic. It's made from, where is that stuff there? It's Pure Soap products are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Me and my daughter were at this Lush store at the Fashion Show Mall because we were buying clothes for her to go to school, so we had to go to Urban Outfitters, and the only place they have them in town here is on the Las Vegas Strip. So we went down to a couple of stores this week, shopping around in different malls. Oh, we've been shopping a lot. You have no idea. Went into this Lush store, and I said, "Hey, your products got palm oil in them?" I said, "Oh yeah, we have palm oil." I said, "Ha ha ha! You're killing orangutans." We use PureSoapFlake.com. They don't use palm oil, but we can bathe your body and wash your clothes. Where is all this stuff here? It's safe for drains and waterways. What a crappy commercial I'm giving to the Pure Soap Flake people, I tell you. But I've used the soap myself. The bar soap is great. You can clean your body with it. It really feels good. There's no chemicals or anything in it. Then they come with a laundry detergent, too, that's pure, organic. You clean your clothes in that. Your clothes feel great. They smell great. And the soap flakes. I'm telling you guys, it's all pure and natural. It's not this chemical junk. And you clean your pots and pans with this stuff. They come out like brand new. I got those stainless steel pots and pans. I got all those, burn stains on it because I'm an intense cook, man. I cook like a maniac. AlmightyGold.com. Let's move on to the next sponsor. AlmightyGold.com. You can buy your gold in affordable quantities, as little as 1/10 of a gram of gold. You can invest in gold for $10. You can start investing tonight. You can become in the gold business. I can put you in the gold business, bro. AlmightyGold.com. You get your sign up for free. You become an affiliate. You get a free affiliate link. Post that link on your website there. Anytime somebody clicks on it. If you have a podcast, it seems like everybody and their brother's got a podcast nowadays. You put that link there on your website, man. Make some money. Monetize your wonderful podcast there. Emailrevealer.com. That's me. You get a copy of my autographed copy of my book, How to Become a Successful Private Investigator. Even if you don't want to be a PI, and who would? Let's face it. Who wants to be in the PI business? It sucks. I've been helping some people this week. I've been kind of happy with my work. There's some people who couldn't get through certain situations that are getting through them thanks to my help. So I feel good about that. It's been a good week as far as that goes. Asset searches, locates, adoptions, background checks. Want to collect on child support? We can help you locate their place of employment. We can help you find hidden bank accounts. We can help you collect on judgments. Email revealer.com. Get in trouble with the cops. Hit me up. Being extorted, someone blackmailing you. Got a problem, someone online defamation, someone stalking you. Get a hold of me. This is what I do for a living, believe it or not. Okay. Email revealer.com. What a life, guys. What a life. All right, let's see. Pull up my notes here. And we'll get to work. All right? Get to work. Okay, everybody's in the chat room. They're all excited about the show I just did with this fellow this evening. What is his name? Alan Salkin, is it? And about this, he wrote this book about the madness of Trump or something like that, right? So, okay. I don't know what happened in that interview, man. I don't know what happened. But I'll tell you this. I saw the guy on MSNBC talking about this book. And he looked like an interesting guy. And I says, I'd like to book this show. And I'm trying to get as many shows as I can recorded. Because coming up in less than 20 days, I got to take Vic to D.C. I'm going to be out there for a week. We're going to be driving around D.C. looking, she got me running around like a lunatic. So, I got to have shows ready. I can't be recording new shows while I'm out there, staying at a motel and stuff like that. I'll do this live segment, I'm sure. I'll bring my laptop. I'll be able to do that. But the thing is I'm trying to record a lot of shows. So I saw this guy on MSNBC talking about his book, and he only gave me like 30 seconds on there, and he was all hyped up and stuff. And I said, boy, this guy looks like a good guest. So I went and I looked for him on Facebook, and I found his Facebook page, and I contacted him there. I didn't hear nothing back. Then I contacted on his website. Even found the publisher, and I said, I want to book this guy. So he gets back to me, and he says, I'd love to do the show. And he made this comment like, but your internet presence is very interesting. I find something that made some kind of little crack, And he says, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Right? So now normally, listen, I've been booking guests. How many guests? How many shows have I done? Over 1,500, 2,000 shows. I've been booking guests for 6 years on this damn show. And usually when a guest starts being like a diva, and they want me to audition for them to come on the show, especially some guy no one's heard of, no one's going to buy this book. I usually just, ignore him. Thanks, but no thanks. But with this guy, I responded back. And, look, you come on my show, you're going to sell books, man. There's no doubt about that. I don't care unless you pick a fight with me. Okay? There's two ways. You come on my show, you're going to sell books. There's two ways you don't sell books. One is you say the kiss of death is I ask them a question, and they say, whoa, I'm not going to tell you everything because I want them to buy the book. And that's it. No books. That turns off the audience so bad. But the worst thing you could do is to pick a fight with the host and start accusing the host of making a fake profile to ambush the guest to come on. It's just the craziest thing in the world. This guy's not going to sell any books after that. And I make this, when people buy the books, I get a commission off my Amazon link. I count on that money. So I try and bring guests on the show that, are going to sell some books. Hi. So he asked me, well, tell me about yourself. He wants me to audition for the interview. Okay. It's an hour of my life. It's an hour's work. Okay. I'm going to spend with this guy. Right. I'm going to read the description on Amazon. Okay. Bring him on the show. Ask him some questions. I got a format. You guys know what I'm doing here. An hour's work. Okay. Hopefully I sell some books, but put some ads on there, make a little bit of money. Okay. Fine. We fill up some time. Okay. Every show can't be a gem. By the way, I got a gem today, guys. Okay. I'll tell you about that in a little while. Today, I did 2 hours with a guest today. This is the kind of stuff, if you love this show, if you love this show, this is the kind of stuff you'll love. Connecting a first-hand eyewitness who lived through it, a former madam who was involved with Iran-Contra, sex trafficking in Iran-Contra. Okay, find someone talking about that out there. Find this guest out there. I dare you guys. Or you'll hear about him a year from now when everybody goes out and tries to book her. But you hear it here first. So the guy says, Mr. Opperman, tell me about yourself, and I'll consider coming on your show. He wants me to audition. I'll juggle for him, right? I'll do a little tap dance, a little soft shoe, right? pull up my straw hat and cane like Ricky Ricardo, do a little rumba for him there, play my little conga drum. Maybe he could throw peanuts at me, right? So I write back and I says, well, I'm a Sagittarius and I like long walks on the beach. He wanted to tell me about myself, right? That's what I wrote. And I says, when I'm not, testifying before Congress or, suing Trump. Okay? Which is, pretty much what I've been doing this week. Anyway. So he comes back. Well, I said, just let him roll. I got no time for nonsense. So he comes back, okay, I'll do the show. No, I even at the end, I says, can you do it tomorrow at 11 o'clock? Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay. And before the show, we're talking off the air, he's telling me some problems he got. Well, hey, I'm a PI. I have a client with the same kind of problem right now, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of said, well, what's the client's name? And I was, I just let it go. And then, don't you look at, you tell me what happened, I'm interviewing him. Maybe when he was looking online about me, he saw that crazy article that says Ed Opperman, left-wing fanatic, but those crazy guys wrote that crazy article. A couple of nuts, man, wanted to interview me. They have this little blog. And two guys get on, and they're taping it, and they're arguing with each other during the interview and stuff like that. And I went along with them. And then they write this insane article about how I became a communist because I'm a fan of Jimmy Carter, and they're nitpicking all my stuff about Jeffrey. All the stuff I was saying about Trump and Epstein, 5 years ago, no one was saying they Epstein doesn't exist. Anyway, so maybe he saw that, and he thought I was some kind of a left-wing fanatic that was ambushing people on my show. I don't know. But that was my experience with our fine gentleman there. Go out and run out and buy his book. Anyway, what are you going to do, right? Now, if you listen to the show before that, Mr. Tom O'Neill, who wrote the book Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA, and the Secret History of the 60s. And that was a good guest. That was a good show. And if you missed the first few minutes of that show, because, hey, tell me about yourself. Who's Tom O'Neill? And he starts going into about how he used to drive one of those horse and carriages around Central Park. So I'm sitting there, man. We're about the same age, He's talking about Paul Krasner. I met Paul Krasner a few times. A lot of the people in his book he talks about, Peter Dale Scott, Dave McGowan. In fact, we had a long talk about Dave McGowan before the show. So I hope to get him back. A good guest. I didn't ask him anything about Charles Manson and his connection to celebrities, which is a big part of his book. But he mentioned the thing about the horse and carriage in Central Park. All right? And so I said, well, you know what, man? I was in the hansom cab business myself. And I was partners with the guy who was the president of the Horse and Carriage Association in New York City. And he says, oh, and he knew the guy too. Now, and we both started joking around saying that we were going to tell stories about this guy. And there are stories about this guy. Okay? Now, the way I got into that business was this. I had a deal to an opportunity to invest in an opening of a nightclub in Manhattan. And one of the partners involved in this nightclub was the guy who was the president of the Horse and Carriage Association in New York City. And he owned a handsome cab medallion and a horse and a carriage. I'm pretty sure the horse was called Ghost Shadow or Silver Shadow. And he said that the cab, the handsome carriage, was silver, had silver on it. But I remember it being purple. But, I only saw it a couple of times. And which is what I'm getting to in a minute. Okay? And so what happened was, it's funny too, because when they got into a lawsuit with the landlord of the nightclub, and there was a little caption in there about how I showed up with this big bag full of money to invest in the club, and it's kind of funny. I should make a screenshot of that and post it in the members section. But ultimately, what happened was, we had a nice nightclub going there for a long time, but ultimately we got evicted from the space. There was a lawsuit. We got evicted from the space. And so part of my deal was, though, is that I had a lien at a UCC filing against the handsome cab medallion and against the physical horse and the physical carriage. And so now, I'm here to collect my money. Okay, I want my horse medallion, buddy. Where is it? And he's ducking me, he's hiding from me and stuff like that. So what we actually did was, in fact, I hired one of Bo Dietl's guys to come with me. One of his sergeants. He used to call them his sergeants. And so we went, we had the limo, my limo driver, Joey the Worm, as we used to call him. I wonder what he's doing these days, man. I had this limo driver that, as we got to know each other, it turned out he used to do like bank jobs with his father-in-law and like these jewelry heists and stuff like that, in his earlier life, And now he's driving a limo, he's driving around this nutty kid. And it was, so we had him, and then we had like a SUV, the Bo Dietl's guy. And we went and we drove in Manhattan, and we saw the handsome cab, and we cut him off. We pulled him off to the side of the road, and we went over there with a screwdriver, and we took the handsome cab medallion off the thing. We repossessed it. We didn't we didn't take the horse, man. What am I going to do with the horse? Take him back to Staten Island? Take him back to my condo with my pool table? Okay, so we didn't do we let the horse go free. We let the driver keep the horse. It was these Irish guys used to drive these things at the time. And the Irish guys kept saying, well, I don't know anything about this. I don't know about it. I don't know nothing. Oh, my goodness. So, but we got the medallion, which was supposed to be like worth $130,000 or something like that. I was supposed to be making money on the deal. And it turned out that there was so many fines and liens against it, against the medallion. It was basically worthless. So that's my little story there about my little horse and carriage story there. Hey, let's see. How are we doing on time? Okay, we're doing good. All right, so very busy week this week. I uploaded a whole ton of content to the member section. I did an interview that I did with Clyde Lewis. I was on there with him, I think, for 2 hours. But this guy's got a commercial break every 13 minutes, It was just unbelievable. And then even then, there's a music intro, there's the music outro, and then he talks. And we didn't really. It was supposed to be about Jeffrey Epstein. We only spent about 5-10 minutes talking about Epstein. But I got some stuff out there. I did an interview with Stacy Pressman, who's a stand-up comedian in New York City. Beautiful woman, really, really nice. She used to do a show with Reverend Bob Levy from the Howard Stern show. She was on with him the last time I had her on. And we've remained friends. She's really cool. And like I said, really, really pretty girl. And so she interviewed me about Epstein. But then somehow we started talking about Jared Fogle. And I was telling her the whole story about Jared Fogle. That's why I repeated the show the other night. Because fascinating stuff about Jared Fogle. And the Subway knew what this guy was doing. And I listened to my report that I did last time. You could find it on Spreaker. If you just Google Ed Opperman, Spreaker, Jared Fogle, you'll find the old interview I did. I just replayed it this week. And it's all in the court documents that Subway knew. And who sues Subway to get that stuff? It's who sues Subway but Jared Fogle's wife. And now you don't hear anything about that lawsuit, which means it was settled. Subway paid, Then I did an interview with these guys called the Nothing Exempt Podcast. They interviewed me about Epstein, too. So right away, that's 2, 3, 5 hours of content up in the member section, brand new content, all about Epstein. And so I did that. I had done these guys' show. There's one guy there's like 3 hosts on the show. Okay, and they're like finance guys, hedge fund guys, whatever they are. That's why it's called Nothing Exempt, because that's like tax exempt stuff, I guess. I'm assuming. I don't know. And I don't know what their other topics are, but they had me on once before. I came on and I tried to talk to them about Trump and Epstein. And they thought I was just making it up, right? And one guy actually ended the interview early. He says, well, I've heard enough. I'm leaving. And I said, oh, the interview's over? That's how you guys end your show? So this week they got all excited. They contacted me again to come back. My triumphant return, right? And one of the guys says again, he says, well, I think the lawsuit was politically motivated. I don't know, man. I tell you. It's so frustrating, because you can be involved in something firsthand. You try and report to you what I know. What am I going to do, just make things up, just lie to you because I don't like Trump or I do like Trump? It just makes no sense. I don't even understand how people think this way, And the other thing, too, is, I was on with them the first time and I couldn't tell them, hey, this is my case. I'm involved in this. This is why I know it's real. But even still, man, it happens even now that this stuff I would love to tell you and say, hey, man, I know this because the people involved came to me. They tried to hire me. There was nothing there. I turned the case down. Or they came to me and they told me there was nothing there. They admitted to me there was nothing there. And I wish I could say this to you, but I can't. I can't tell you. I can't. People won't hire me anymore if I tell you every single time. Hey, this guy is a shady case. No one will hire me anymore. I can't tell you every case I'm involved in. But usually the ones I talk about. So anyway, Nothing Exempt podcast. Then Chuck Ocelli had me on. Good old Chuck Ocelli. This show was played on the Ocelli station there, along with Pierce Redmond and a bunch of other guys. And he still plays on Awake too. He puts his show on Awake. I see it. So he interviewed me too as well about the whole Epstein stuff. He kind of threw some insult at me in the beginning of the interview. What's going on? Why is everybody insulting me? I don't even understand. I try and get along with everybody. I think I'm a nice guy. What do you call it? He starts off the interview saying that his listeners complain about me and he complain about my show and they don't like me. All right, well, what do you got to tell me that for? Why would you tell me that before I started interviewing your show? He's like, well, I'm having Ed Opperman on the show, even though all the audience hates him and they complain to me about him. And they say this about him, they say nasty things about him, and they don't like him. I have him on now because I like him, even though my entire audience hates him. Okay. This is a day in the life of Ed Opperman. I can't wait. By the way, I got great content for the film crew coming up. And I can't wait till they come back and they really see, when people really see what I go through here on an average day. Crazy people calling me up. Chuck Ocelli insulting me. I'm heckled during my show. My own daughter heckling me. And then Pierce Redmond interviewed me. It's the first person I told, okay, that I was released from my non-disclosure agreement was Pierce Redmond. As soon as I was able to tell someone, he's the first person I went to, and I says, hey, Pierce, man, I got to tell you something. Did you know that I was the investigator in the case? And he says, well, I knew you had some kind of information. And then but he didn't know. I said, all the hints I've been leaving you, and I've been trying to get this out to you, and you haven't figured it out. So then the next day he went back through our old Skype conversations. He went back and read all our old Skype conversations. He goes, man, I can't believe it. Now that I read all this, you're right. It's right there staring me in the face. I don't know how I didn't catch on. So he has me on, like, the next day on his show, but he didn't know I was allowed to talk about it. He thought I was just telling him, and we were allowed to talk about it off the air, but we couldn't talk about it on the air. So we talk about a lot of good stuff. It's a good interview because obviously he knows his stuff, okay? Now, all you guys out there that are members of the OppermanReport.com, what do you call it? You're in an exclusive club, okay, guys? Because you get all this information years before anybody else does. Get a notification this week, the other day, that someone became a member for $6. And, you see their email address and you see their name, and it's an email address at businessinsider.com. So I says, someone from Business Insider has just logged into became a member. And I know the guy from The Sun became a member. The guy from the UK Daily Mail became a member. And all these people, a lot of people in the news now the word is out, okay, where to find information on Epstein, that you can't find it anywhere else. And they're signing up, and they're calling me up. I'm trying to get them to hire me, man. They do they all just weasel information out of you for free. It's kind of annoying, to tell you the truth. But I'll tell you something else, too. One thing I can tell you is a lot of the rumors that I know about that I haven't talked about on the air because I don't want to get sued, but not by Epstein. He's not going to sue me. He's done. But other people involved, and big names you would recognize right away, names I mention all the time. Some names I don't mention all the time, but I mention occasionally. There's a lot of other information out there about activities with these people doing things. And, there isn't enough hard, solid evidence to talk about it. But other people know about this from other sources. So it's out there, man. And I can't imagine it not coming out further. But one other thing, too, is even all these people talking to me, still, the Trump rape lawsuit is still taboo. They don't want to touch that. And they won't tell me why. Guys, it's still a controlled story, And also, too, I can tell you this, too, that people say, well, why haven't they been reporting this? A lot of these reporters are just learning about this. They don't even know a damn thing about this. They're just finding out. So there's a ton of information out there about to come forward in little dribs and drabs. But a lot of these guys are just learning it as they go along. And the other thing, too, is but they got all this funding and financing, and they got all this resources to investigate this story. So hopefully we can get this all, out in the open here. Let's play a commercial break, okay? And I'll be right back after these messages. And now a word from our sponsors. AlmightyGold.com. Get your gold in affordable quantities. 1 gram, 2.5 grams, 5 grams, no minimum purchase required. Why save in paper when you can save in gold? AlmightyGold.com understands it's difficult to afford gold in large quantities. No one can afford an ounce of gold. This is why Almighty Gold has introduced to you Carat Bars, a most reliable company where you can buy gold in minor quantities from as little as 1/10 of a gram. That's like $6. Each gold bar is inset into the Carat Bar frame, which is a standard credit card size, and it's covered by a safety laminate. It's imprinted with a unique DNA for counterfeit protection and provided with a blacklight authenticity signature on the front. Gold, AlmightyGold.com. They have a cryptocurrency backed in gold, and you can become an affiliate at AlmightyGold.com and make a commission from any gold that is purchased from your affiliate link. It's contact us at almightygold.com. That's their email address. Contact us at almightygold.com. Gold! Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe add new point-of-sale locations across the country quickly, or bring in revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services to your office building, warehouse, or lobby? CartKing.com is the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. That's www.cart-king.com. Give them a call at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. So you go to the website, CartKing.com, you check out their different designs and models. You pick out which design applies to your business. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it for you, and ship it worldwide. CartKing.com. PureSoapFlakes.com. 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with Pure Soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at PureSoapFlakes.com, greenhome.com, amazon.com, or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.
Okay, welcome back to the Opperman Report. I'm your host, private investigator Ed Opperman. It's been some week, guys. Let me tell you, it's been some week. Vic's leaving in about 20 days. August 16th, we're flying out to D.C. So we're doing all this shopping for clothes and calculating, constantly calculating the finances of how much money it's going to take to get there. Just today we had to book a room. It's like $300 for the room, and then the rental car is like $400. So we had all this going on. Kids working full time. I drop her off at work at 10 in the morning, pick her up at 7 at night. I try and go see her for lunch too. And we get up early in the morning because she wants to look good for school when she starts school, and I got to look good when we start filming this TV show. So we get up in the morning, we go swimming like 6 o'clock in the morning, and then we do like a bike ride or a hike or something like that, or weightlifting, go to the weight room too. I'm looking good, guys. You got to see me. I'll post some pictures soon. But I'm looking pretty good, man. I'm like 198. But anyway. But today we go get a coffee in the morning. We go to this coffee shop. And we can't go back to this coffee shop anymore because like a couple of cops started hanging out in there. You know, it's just like a really bad atmosphere with them, like the center of attention and just the real jerks and the real, bad vibe. Who wants a couple of armed thugs with vests on and, hammers and bats and, who the hell needs that when you're trying to enjoy yourself in the morning? And you had a couple of thugs come in, armed guys. Why don't leave your gun in the car, man? What, someone's going to steal your sugar for your coffee, you're going to have to shoot them? You know what I mean? So we can't go back to that place anymore. We're looking for a different place. And so we're in there yesterday drinking our coffee. And there's this guy in there who he was meeting a guy there from his church. All right? And he was signing him up to some kind of medical insurance. Right? And, okay. And the guy even had like Medicaid or Medicare, but he needed some kind of, who knows how that works, because it's also damn complicated. You need to meet some guy at a coffee shop to teach you how to do it, right? That's our medical system in this country. So this guy was some kind of an insurance broker because he had other agents working for him. And he, this guy, he knew him from church. So the poor guy from church is like a working guy. You could tell he's old. He's working, has bad health. And he says, well, who do I go to teach me about buying my medical insurance? Well, this guy's an insurance broker. He should know. He's been church. And a lot of guys go to church just for that. Insurance guys, real estate guys. They become real active in the church, so they can get business. It's disgusting, but that's how how it works. A lot of these characters. So, and we hear this guy. He's talking to his client there, and he's saying, and he signs him up there on his iPad, And he goes, oh, yeah, I only have to do about 2 or 3 of these a day. And, that's how I make my whole income. And then, I got to, but I work when I go home, so I have to work a couple hours a night after I get home. And I'm just thinking here, this freaking leech, what is this guy contributing to society? Nothing. Leeching off the medical system, making a good living, has people working for him for 20 minutes. And he was even saying, normally when I meet a client, I only spend 20 minutes with them. But since you're a friend from church, I'm spending more time with you. So this guy, 20 minutes a shot to click on some buttons and sign some papers. And this guy makes a full-time living doing that. Contributing what to society? For anybody. He's a leech off the medical health system in this country. That people are out there dying because they can't afford medical care because we got to support creeps like this. Disgusting. Just disgusting. And that's the problem, I had on this woman today about the missing and murdered indigenous women, about these Native American women that are just being killed left and right and turn up missing. No one's investigating it. No one's helping them. I told the story about Misty Upham, the girl who was raped, we assumed by Harvey Weinstein at the Golden Globe Awards there, who had no medical coverage and wound up dying. Had a psychotic breakdown, ran out of her house and ran off a cliff. It's like one thing after another. Even this woman I was talking to tonight, I got an exclusive guest. You're going to love her, about the Iran-Contra and the sex trafficking. She's talking about how she tries to get these women off the street, like Maddie, like I was trying to get Maddie off the street. And we were talking about that whole process and how impossible it is. And again, it's the same thing, because they don't have ID, they don't have medical insurance, we can't get them any help. Same problem. Excuse my language. All over the place. So the name of the show tonight is Kennedy is a Communist. Now, I don't think Kennedy was a communist. Okay, I'm pretty sure John F. Kennedy was not a communist. But the reason why I call the show Kennedy is a Communist is my mother, Norma Opperman. She was born in Cuba. And, oh boy. And she got married at 14 years old in Cuba. And then she had two babies. She had the first one at 16, second one at 18. My two brothers, who were also born in Cuba. And then, she lived in a little town in Cuba called Oriente, which was the first town that Fidel Castro came in and took over. So my mother, was traumatized by the communist revolution in Cuba, even though at the time it wasn't communist. But so she had to leave Cuba in '59, with my uncle. My uncle took, the family from Cuba to the United States, and he had a nice ride, They took care of him. He got a job with the union, went out to become a big union guy and working in restaurants and stuff like that. Very, very cool guy, my uncle, Orestes. But here's my mom, comes to this country, with two boys, dark-skinned boys, Spanish boys, who had to face that racism and prejudice, in the Bronx, Italian neighborhoods they grew up in. Raising these two boys on her own until she met my dad, and married my dad, then they had, me and my sister were born. And again, struggling, poor neighborhoods in the Bronx. A lot of people know my story, And my mom, growing up in Cuba, was very superstitious, very superstitious. And she used to tell this story about how in her little village there in Cuba, they thought that the sky caught fire one day. Everyone, the panic and the rumor mill caught up. I guess the sky was looking red or something, They were convinced that the sky had caught fire, and they all ran into the ocean to so that they wouldn't be burned alive by the sky. And she would tell that story a lot, And it was funny too. I mean, one of my earliest memories was that she had this crucifix over the bed, because Catholics, Hispanic Catholics especially, are very superstitious about these statues of the Virgin Mary. We had all that stuff in the house, candles and stuff. But in this crucifix, I remember you could open it up; it would slide open, and inside there was a little jar of holy oil, and the priest came and blessed it, and there were two little candles, And I said, well, why do you have these candles, and stuff? And I was little, like 4 or 5 years old. And she goes, oh, just in case, there's ever like a hurricane. Or, we live in the Bronx. It's going to be a hurricane. It's going to come take. We live in a 21-story solid cement building. You're going to have 50 hurricanes. That's going to happen to us. She said, well, in case there's a hurricane, what you do is you take this candle and you light it and you pray to God and it makes the hurricane go away. I go, what, really? So you kidding me? Is that how that works? I remember too. I forgot. This wasn't in my notes, but my mother's bed, the bedroom they had, was made out of wood. It was old fashioned. Good solid wood furniture back in those days. And there was like a cabinet in the headboard, so if you crawled underneath, there was like a little clubhouse that we had underneath that cabinet there. And one time, me and my sister used to go down there and hang out. One time we crawled under the mattress to this little, with lit candles in our hands. I was raised by wolves. Okay. Oh my God. It's a miracle we survived, With my mother with the hurricane candles and us with the candles under the bed. And the sky catching fire, And I remember too, we had this I was fascinated by this family Bible we had, when I was little. And when I was little, like 4 or 5 years old, I remember in the Bronx we had this long hallway on Crows Avenue. And I used to ride, roller skates up and down the hallway, drive the neighbors crazy and things. And in the bookcase there was this big giant Bible. And I remember the pages were so thin, and it had like that indent thing, for each chapter of the Bible. You could reach in your thumb there and pull it up. And I would love doing it, pulling up the thing. And then the pages were so thin, and I would turn the pages. And my mother would get upset. She says, that's not a toy. You can't play with that. And I said, well, what is it? She says, that's the most important book in the whole world. That's the Bible. It's the most important book you could ever have in the whole world you could ever have in your whole life. So it's not a toy. You can't play with it. And I remember saying to it, I was a little kid, I was 5 years old. I said, well, Mom, if it's so important, if this is the most important book in the world, how come I never see anyone read it? I've never seen anyone in this family read this book. And she says, oh, no, you're not supposed to read it. Okay? But if there's a hurricane, you hold it up. Okay? And you pray to God, and it makes the hurricane go away. Anyway, that was my mom. Now she's got the 2 kids. My 2 brothers go off to the military, to the Air Force and the Navy, and now she's raising 2 other little kids. And I remember the time when we were little, because I was the baby of the family. And my sister started school, Blessed Sacrament. It was quite a walk away. And my mom, me and my mom would have to walk there, to pick up my sister from school. And when it would snow out, I had this sled, and I would make my mom pull me on this sled. Even if there was, if the street was just wet, she'd pull me on this freaking sled, my poor mom. And I remember the time she went to work at Corvettes, and she bought me this bicycle, this, with a banana seat, Remember those bicycles with a banana seat and had the 3 speed shifter? It was gold. And I remember we walked home from school, I guess it was my birthday or something. I don't know, maybe it wasn't even anything. Who knows? I was little. And she said, I said, oh, I'm so hot. She goes, where do you see? Inside the house, I have a big tub of cold ice water for you to jump into. She says, you're going to love it. And I'm thinking, what is she talking about? And we went in and I saw this beautiful bicycle. I never had a brand new bike my whole life. I always had my sister's leftover bike. But my mom bought that for me with her money from work. I talked to you about I did all these interviews this week, I got a TV show coming up, all this stuff, right? And, cases I work on are in the news and stuff like that, 24-hour news stories. And I would have loved to tell my mother that stuff, and hey, But the thing is, I guess it was about 20 years ago, she started getting dementia. So you could just tell. I was one of the first people to notice it too. Even when I first moved out of the house, and I was like 18 years old, around then, I started noticing little signs of odd behavior. But by the time when I moved to Vegas, it was deep dementia. And even when I had my wedding, she was too far gone to even travel here to try and pull something like that off. So, for the most part, my mom has been gone for 20 years. She's been in a hospice, And my dad's still alive, My dad's still alive. And he's kind of, what are you going to do? He's old, right? Imagine me, twice my age. That's how my dad is. Great guy, my dad, and he would go every day down to see my mom at the hospital there and feed her 3 meals a day because it had gotten so bad toward the end. Because you got to imagine, 14, the way I describe it, she got married at 14 years old, but really, she kind of was just given to the neighbor, This neighbor guy who lived in the farm next door, they go live with him, go marry him at 14 years old. So that had to be traumatic for her, that had to be trauma in her life. And it got to the point where with this dementia in the nursing home there that she wouldn't allow anybody to touch her or feed her or change her diaper and stuff like that. So my dad would go there, for the past 5 or 6 years, man, would go there every single day and feed her 3 meals a day and change her diaper and wash her and bathe her and stuff like that. So, this week, Monday morning, I got a message from a cousin of mine. And a cousin I don't talk to. Yeah, I hardly even talk to this guy. I invited him to some stuff. I had a thing out there in California. I invited him to that. I didn't hear back from stuff like that. Yeah, you hear from once in a while, but. And so, Ed, I'm so sorry to hear about your mom. If you want to talk, give me a call. And I said, I knew what he meant. And I said, well, I didn't know. I'm just finding out now. And then I check my messages. I leave my phone unplugged a lot because, you got to tape the shows and stuff like that, or clients call you up in the middle of the night. And what I'll do is I'll see the messages on my computer. I get up every couple hours and check the messages. In case I got an emergency right now. Someone checking in has an emergency. Somebody you would know if I told you their name. So I check my messages, and my dad, first he left one message saying, hey, your mom had to go to the hospital last night because she ate some food and she was really bad. And then the next message was after she had passed. And he didn't come right out and say it to me on the phone, but I already knew. So I called him up. And that's, here I am, this guy, everybody wanted to interview Ed Opperman, all his things he's done in his life. No one's ever interviewed my mother, No one's ever written a book about my mother, mentioned my mother in a book. Maybe I will one day, But it's the kind of people who do deserve recognition in life. My mom, she came to this country, she worked in a sweatshop. I remember going in there when I was a little kid. There was a row of sewing machines with all these little women behind these sewing machines, and they had a fan. The doors would be locked too; you couldn't even get in there. But they had this big fan and all the lint blowing in the fan. I remember seeing that. It was like 115 degrees in that place. It was so hot, sweat dripping off all these women. And we used to go in there, and I remember she got in trouble because we were going in there too much. We weren't allowed to go in there anymore and see her. But this is a woman who worked her whole life hard, raised kids. All the kids turned out good, except for me, And no recognition in life. No one ever interviewed her. Even, I remember, too, there was when I was about 18 years old, and they came out with that whole public access cable TV. And I had money when I was 18 years old. I was making good money. And my brother-in-law had taken some classes and stuff like that, and he was involved in some film production stuff. And, we were going to do a TV show on cable access TV. I was going to pay for it. And he had the technical know-how. We knew some people who were, and we were going to do like a talk show, And I remember telling my mother, I says, hey, me and my brother-in-law were going to do a TV show. And she goes, oh, what's the joke? To my mother, to have a TV show was so, foreign. That's just for people on TV, like Rock Hudson. Or Mike Douglas, or it's impossible for anybody we know in our little family here in the Bronx here, in this, So that's my week. Lost my mom, but I lost her a long time ago. So in some ways, it's not that traumatic, but. In other ways, I'm also, my kid's leaving too, Hey, a big change in the life of Ed Opperman. So I just wanted to, dedicate a show to my mom. And someone who's never been interviewed, never got any recognition in life for all the things she's done, all the good she's done for people, all the hard work, raising me and my brothers and sisters, and I just wanted to get that out there. And also, too, circle of life, my daughter's also leaving, going off to college, and, we need your support. We got that GoFundMe, we got that other thing on Facebook fundraiser, things like that. If you want to become a member at OppermanReport.com, we would really appreciate your support. And to get us through these struggles that you have in life. So coming up tomorrow, we got, you know what? I did a show with this guy, Ren Clegg, about, what's that called? Now I got a splitting headache now. Jonestown, Guyana. we touch on some stuff you haven't heard anywhere else before because it was new to me. And then I did the 2 hours with that woman, the ex-madam, who helps to rescue women being sex trafficked. That's a fascinating show, man. You know, part 2 is like really good. Then I got the woman missing and murdered indigenous women. And then there's another show I did too about the crimes of the Clintons that's been sitting in the can for a while. I taped with this guy too from Twitter, a guy named Big Fish, about what was that about? That was all about Epstein and George Nader. It was a great show, but I screwed up the recording. Again, I screwed up the recording with this guy. I guess I'm getting old or a little distracted. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Good night. And now a word from our sponsors. AlmightyGold.com. Get your gold in affordable quantities. 1 gram, 2.5 grams, 5 grams, no minimum purchase required. Why save in paper when you can save in gold? AlmightyGold.com understands it's difficult to afford gold in large quantities. No one can afford an ounce of gold. This is why Almighty Gold has introduced to you Carat Bars, a most reliable company where you can buy gold in minor quantities from as little as 1/10 of a gram. That's like $6. Each gold bar is inset into the Carat Bar frame, which is a standard credit card size, and it's covered by a safety laminate. It's imprinted with a unique DNA for counterfeit protection and provided with a blacklight authenticity signature on the front. Gold, AlmightyGold.com. They have a cryptocurrency backed in gold, and you can become an affiliate at AlmightyGold.com and make a commission from any gold that is purchased from your affiliate link. It's contact us at almightygold.com. That's their email address. Contact us at almightygold.com. Gold! Have you ever thought about opening your own mobile cart or kiosk business? Maybe add new point-of-sale locations across the country quickly, or bring in revenue by adding coffee, food, or retail services to your office building, warehouse, or lobby? CartKing.com is the answer to your needs. CartKing.com is a North American designer and manufacturer of the finest mobile retail, coffee, food, carts, and kiosks that money can buy. For 20 years, CartKing.com has been working with clients across America to provide indoor and outdoor carts and kiosks for any application. That's www.cart-king.com. Give them a call at 877-986-7771. Tell them Ed Opperman sent you. So you go to the website, CartKing.com, you check out their different designs and models. You pick out which design applies to your business. They'll custom design it for you, custom build it for you, and ship it worldwide. CartKing.com. PureSoapFlakes.com. 218-568-2525. Have you ever heard of Castile Soap? Pure Soap Flake Company handcrafts fine soap bars, laundry powder, and concentrated soap flakes using organic vegetable oils from their northern Minnesota facility. Bathe your body and wash your clothes with pure soap products that are free of fragrance, GMOs, palm oil, sodium lauryl sulfate, and synthetic additives. Keep it clean, folks. Pure Soap Flake Company products are kind to living creatures and sensitive skin, safe for drains and waterways, and work great in high-efficiency washers and top and front-loading machines. Order today at puresoapflakes.com, greenhome.com, amazon.com, or give them a call, 218-568-2525, 218-568-2525. Pure Soap Flake Company is a proud member of the Handcrafted Soap and Cosmetic Guild.
It's the Opperman Report. And now, here is investigator Ed Opperman.